Welcome. Absolutely delighted to be joined by Jake Hawkins from CFC, team captain of the Thunder Writing team. Jake, welcome.
Thank you, John. Thanks for having me.
No problem at all. Jake, you are a UK Technology Underwriter, and we were just chatting there. I think that's a great job title.
Yeah, long enough, but yeah, it's definitely an interesting position. Lets me to basically review new and emerging technologies around the world. Keeps it interesting. It's something you've got to do on a daily basis. It's a good little perk, I think.
Oh, quite right. No, it sounds really smart. And obviously, you guys are kind of in that cyber security insurance space. You look after a lot of emerging technologies. You do your traditional insurance side as well. Do you want to tell us a bit more about CFC for anybody that might not know?
Yeah, so I think CFC is more renowned for our cyber abilities and also kind of cyber insurance, as it were. I think we was like first to market back in '99 with a cyber policy, and I think it's one of those things that a little bit kind of a before our time, as it were. But obviously, as the business has grown, we've gone on to actually offer a lot more kind of lines of cover. I guess it's more kind of emerging kind of risks now is the kind of what we're better known for. Ranges of kind of life science teams, the technology teams like myself, transactional liability, the kind of the edge kind of pieces of insurance that your kind of day-to-day insurers wouldn't really look at.
Mm-hmm. And are you quite client facing in your role, or what's your sort of day job look like?
Yeah, so with the setup between like insurers and brokers, we always need a broker present if we're going to speak to clients. And not all brokers like us speaking to clients because they feel like if we get our clause in them, then the broker's got no choice than to go with us. So on a daily basis, typically I would maybe speak to a client or two a week. Usually, if it's a bit more involved product or again something brand new to the field. Things like quantum computing, for instance, like last year, I was doing a lot of calls on these, just because not out there yet, and these guys are kind of just talking to me about how they're going to achieve their solutions, as it were. And it's a big learning curve. It's good to kind of speak to the clients and actually get the kind of business description from the horse's mouth, as it were. Sometimes you get too many people in the chain, and you're asking people to write things down. You're not going to get the full picture. But yeah, it's a good opportunity to kind of see the general public, educate myself, and keep ahead of the emerging risks, as it were.
Quite right. And have you been with the company for quite a while now, or?
Yes, so I'm coming up to, I think, 5 years now at the company. So about 5 years ago, entered kind of in a support role in the tech and cyber teams, basically policy documentation, that kind of thing. Was promoted to kind of in charge of that team, and then got promoted to full-blown underwriting. So yeah, sit on the UK technology team and been there for about 2 or 3 years now.
Nice progression.
Been good fun. Yeah, a lot of learning. A good curve, as it were. But it's a great opportunity.
And when you started out, did you ever think you were going to get paid to play esports?
No, not at all. I don't think anyone ever thinks that's ever going to be an option. I think I remember my teachers telling me that if you spend too much time on that game, you're never going to get a job. You'll never get paid for that. And then lo and behold, within the last 10 years, it's been proven how popular esports is in general. Crazy. I think we actually had a talk. We do esports coverage as it goes. We was talking to some lawyers over in the US, and kind of the money involved is absolutely crazy when you look at the size of the industry as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot nicer when you actually enjoy it as well. To take money aside from it, it's a nice.
That's right. When you get the chance to marry up your passions with work life, that is always a perk of the job. And you have an existing esports relationship with Superscript out with just this tournament as well. Do you want to tell us a little bit about how you guys work together? And
Yeah, so well, Ben originally worked at CFC, so we've always had a good working relation. He obviously went to what we could refer to as the dark side. That they will obviously say it's the insurers are the dark side, and we say the brokers are. So we've always had a good working relationship with Superscript in general. Since I've been working there, I've known most of the guys that are kind of playing in the tournament as it is. So I think basically off the back of that relationship, I was quite lucky to partake in Business Fives' January esports. And a little bit of a ringer brought in, keep my head down, play the game as it were. And just off the back of that, had a lot of fun. And obviously this is now kind of spun out off the back of that. It was really good to kind of have an opportunity, but this time have my team around me.
Quite right. You've taken full advantage of that. We're going to get onto that in a second, but you've obviously been tapped up for your prowess on the battlefield as well. So you've carved out a nice little niche for yourself within the sector. And how have you been managing to
sports consultant?
A consultant. That's right. And how have you been managing throughout lockdown to just keep connected with the sector? Have you found that quite a challenge, or has it came quite naturally?
I think the challenge is the ideas. That's ultimately the problem. It's not a lack of want or need or ability. I think it's just that over the last year, I think events like this have been actually shone their colours, as it were, as like how valuable they are in keeping clients and even employees internally together. It's quite funny that we started playing Call of Duty within our own team back when the pandemic first started, and it was just on the basis that wasn't seeing it. We was going into lockdown. We had a lot of free time, and some guys and teams ended up buying whole consoles and all of that to kind of join in. So that was it's been us for the last year, pretty much playing this game. But don't get me wrong, obviously the kind of rise of more kind of virtual talks and kind of trying to do a lot more. I don't know, kind of virtual events, as it were. We've done some bakery events, the cook along, awful, but get there. Some wine tasting. Now that's not hard. But yeah, I think it's becoming more paramount that ideas such as these, running these esports, definitely they're worth their weight in gold in terms of business relationships, and it's just keeping in contact with these guys that we used to see pretty much on a weekly basis. And it's a little bit funny now that we used to be geographically really, really close, and all of a sudden obviously it wasn't overnight, it's been over a year now, but it felt like overnight. All of a sudden it was bang. And I think everyone was at first worried about just making sure you can carry on working, which is very fortunate. I think the insurance industry in general has been able to kind of carry on much unimpeded. So I'm counting my blessings because of that, really. I've got some friends that are kind of like in the PT realm, working in gyms, where they're kind of not being able to physically be present, where it didn't completely rule out their kind of opportunities, but it really severely impacted their kind of abilities to make a living as such.
Yeah,
it's been
a
tricky old year.
Definitely.
Yeah, and it's things like this has really just kept our team together. It brings a semblance of normality a little bit. It's too easy that every day that you're stuck in front of you're at home by yourself, stuck in front of the screen, and you start losing touch with your own team. It's not great as such, but there's plenty of opportunities out there to.
It's that connectivity that we all miss, and just yearning for that, feel connected again to the people that you're kind of closest to, whether that be in your industry or sector, whether that be within teams and colleagues and within organizations as well. It's such a challenge, but that was the huge driver behind Superscript setting this up, just to keep the insurance sector connected and just bring out people's competitive spirits and have a bit of fun with it as well. But certainly a big driver behind this is the charity element as well. And I know you guys are big supporters of Upreach as well, and you were just kind of explaining the amount of mentor work and things that you provide for Upreach on an ongoing basis. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about just your work with them? And
Yeah. So sorry. It's we partner CFC Partners with a similar charity where we provide mentoring for low income kind of families. It's more focused on the children, students, and them trying to essentially progress and just providing support where maybe they don't have access to, like maybe myself or you might have family member. I had this myself, actually. None of my family worked up London. They work all local jobs, and that was actually quite a starting point of kind of like, where do I want to go? What jobs do I want to do? And when as soon as you don't have someone to ask, it's actually then becomes quite an uphill battle. You don't know where to start. So yeah, we do some mentoring. The charity's called Brokerage, but I was just saying to you that if like their kind of idea and their kind of message fit completely in line with Upreach, is why I was more than happy to support them coming in with Superscript trying to Patreon or champion them, for this event. Thought it was appropriate that we'd be supporting them as well.
It's that end goal of just improving social mobility, and it doesn't matter your background, just everybody should have equal opportunities. So yeah, very worthy charity to support on both counts.
No, exactly.
And that is a huge driver. Like there's £2,000 up for grabs for your chosen charity if you win the tournament. Now, you guys are 2 wins from the first 2 matches. We've caught up with some of the opposing team, and there's a bit of a target on your back. People are looking at the top of the group, and they're looking at you guys in the CFC Thunder Writing team and thinking, yeah, we're going to have to beat them at some point. Are you confident?
Yeah. You got to be confident in situations like these, haven't you? We came in swinging off the bat, as it were, and then looking forward to tonight. Obviously, there's 3 games up for grabs, so that we could easily not be at the top by the end of that. So there's a lot of focus in going to today and just basically trying to repeat performances, as it were. I think the idea being, obviously, there's 2. We got a CFC team in the other pool, Click for Kills. I think the idea is to try and get a CFC Final is our goal.
That is laying down the gauntlet. I love that.
That's it.
And I think it's a real possibility looking on at how the league tables are shaking out. But you personally have made quite a contribution to the team. You've contributed 65 kills across just 4 maps. That's a pretty good return.
I didn't know that.
Very, very consistent. And obviously the first match was against ERS, and then you played the Superscript Hot Potatoes team, both 2-0. Any highlights from those matches, or any moments that you look back and think, yeah, we annihilated them?
It was. I think we was all quite nervous going in. Obviously, you don't know what the competition's going to be like at all until kind of the game starts. We had the Hot Potatoes up first. And I believe we opened up actually 2-0. They beat us the first 2 opening search and destroy games, and I think that lit a fire. We all secretly admitted to each other. Was a little bit scared when that happened. So it's all right. A little bit, kind of little shift, quick shift in our strats, and let's go full blown. Let's go swinging now straight away off the bat. And we were able to kind of bring that back. But I'd be lying if to say that the whole team was actually quite worried, considering we lost our first 2 opening matches of the whole tournament.
You pulled that run round pretty quickly. It was a 6-3 reverse in the end. So maybe don't poke the beast, as it were.
That's it. The sleeping giant, isn't it? The famous saying. Really looking forward to it. Like I said, we played a lot against the Superscript guys. It's been a little rejig of their teams over and over. So this was a new kind of figure of players, and they put up a lot of better fight. Like I think Ben mentioned that we had a few scrimmages between us 2 companies about a month ago on the run up of this. And you can definitely tell that they're definitely putting the time in, because obviously they got 4 teams now all of a sudden. Remember them when there was only just a small group of 4 or 5 of the guys, and then now they're putting out multiple teams. So that was a good fun to play with them guys. Obviously we had a lot more kind of had previous relationships. Obviously we've got the likes of Ben used to work with us, so it's a good fun to kind of reconnect and have the opportunity to play. And Then we went into the ERS team. Obviously saw they came off the back of a win again.
Tight match.
One of these things. We've never played. We didn't play them. We hadn't played them. We hadn't played their opponent. Again, if you're coming off the back of a win, we both were. Early doors, you really need to start making steps on that table. So yeah, we definitely came out a lot harder, I think, against ERS than we did with the Superscript guys. Definitely. Maybe it shows a little bit, but yeah, no, it's still, I think it's enjoyable, good fun, and hopefully I see him later down on the line.
Maybe so. It looks like, yeah, though it's actually quite finely poised. You've pulled away at the top, but there's 4 teams behind you then level on points in the group, so it'll be really interesting to see who shakes out into the elite section, professional section, and the prestige section. Definitely from the sounds of things, you're going all the way to the elite final, and hoping to see your CFC Click for Kills colleagues there. But looking ahead to this evening, you've got matches up against Flock Cover first, and then it's domestic in general before Hiscox to finish. Are you confident in all 3 of those, or is there anybody that you're maybe putting a bit of a watchful eye on?
Yeah, look, we're going to love our opportunity against Hiscox. One of the guys there used to be on our team, as it were, as well, right. And another ex-CFCer. So that's always good fun, having a little run out with kind of guys you used to work with and stuff. Other than that, if I'm honest, we've been quite... Strats are our strats. We built this around to basically up against anyone we see. We're not too much. We're not going to worry about too much or change too much to bend to other teams. I think that's it's got to be the opposite way around, isn't it? You set the peg, and it's all about everyone working towards you. I think is the best mentality. So we're going to do our thing no matter what.
I love that mindset.
Let's hope they can keep up.
I love that. Fantastic. Well, look, you're obviously brimming with confidence going into this. It's shaping up to be another cracking night of fixtures. Really looking forward to it. And then we've got finals night to look forward to next Thursday, when we're going to be splitting up that donation as well. So I hope to see you in amongst the prizes. And obviously we're looking to do this annually. This is the inaugural Superscript Charity Esports Tournament. And what kind of game titles would you like to see added for next time around? Is there anything that you'd maybe like to play on, or?
Myself, I'm quite one-dimensional in my games, if I'm honest. Pretty much Call of Duty, bit of kind of Apex Legends, a bit of kind of Rainbow Six Siege, and very much a first-person shooter. Internally with CFC, there's a lot of guys, they play FIFA together. It's not what I play personally, but I know that there's a massive draw for that game. And I'm hoping by the time next year comes around, there might be a new Call of Duty game. Not a massive fan of the new one, but hopefully it goes back to the same developers, and then we get back into the Modern Warfare vein, as it were.
Yeah, Cold War just hasn't been well received across the board, unfortunately for Activision, but people definitely are Modern Warfare loyal. But thanks very much for the other suggestions there, pardon me. A good couple of titles to look into. I know there was some talk about FIFA, and maybe some of the more specialist Apex or Rainbow Six would be good to see as well.
Yeah, great.
And yeah, so the hopes for the tournament is to obviously lift the title. Any final words for your opposing teams out there?
No, not too much really. Guess I'm just going to leave it. Don't blink on us. That's going to be the easiest one. I mean, there's a lot of teams out there that it seems all hunky dory, and then all of a sudden you're halfway through and it's 100-0 on hard point. It's not looking great. You got to bring your A game from the start.
Correct. Well, with that attitude, I think you're definitely going to go far. Jake, absolute pleasure to speak with you. Thanks very much for your time. Really appreciate it. Wish you all the best in the rest of the action. And we look forward to following along as well. But thank you very much, Jake.
Yeah. For your time, John. Hopefully we can lift that silverware, eh?
Hopefully.